The M163 VADS Vulcan Air Defense System was developed during the Cold War era by the United States in response to the need for a highly mobile, self-propelled anti-aircraft gun system to provide close-range air defense for ground forces. It entered service in the 1960s and saw extensive use during the Vietnam War and subsequent conflicts. During the Cold War, there was a significant emphasis on countering the threat of enemy aircraft, particularly low-flying attack aircraft and helicopters. The M163 VADS was developed to provide rapid response and protection against such threats to ground troops. Its creation was driven by the need for a highly mobile and effective air defense system that could keep pace with mechanized and armored units on the battlefield. The first experimental VADS were manufactured already in 1965, and in 1967 they managed to complete all the tests. Serial production of the M163 machines were launched in the same year, almost simultaneously with the release of the M48 air defense system. The M163 VADS was built on the existing M741 track chassis. It was a slightly modified M113 armored personnel carrier. Such a chassis retained a welded hull made of bulletproof armor, a standard power plant, and running gear. The control compartment remained in the bow of the hull, and the center volume served as the fighting compartment. A simplified turret was developed for the installation of weapons and fire control equipment. The M163 VADS uses the M168 gun, a variant of the General Dynamics 20mm M61A1 rotary cannon, the standard cannon in most U.S. combat aircraft since the 1960s. The gun fires at 3,000 rounds per minute in short bursts of 10, 30, 60, or 100 rounds, or it can fire in continuous fire mode at a rate of 1,000 rounds per minute. The M163 uses a small-range Orly ANVPS-2 radar and an M61 optical lead calculating sight, and is incapable of using the radar to scan an area for targets. The system is suitable for night operations, with the use of ANVPS series night vision sights that can be mounted to the right side of the primary sight. A number of early U.S. Army M163s ended up in Vietnam in the early 70s and were used in combat. The enemy did not have aviation, and there were also problems with armored vehicles, because of which the American M163 had to be used only as a means of fire support. With all the limitations, 20mm guns in this role showed efficient effectiveness. The last score of the American M163 VADS was the Desert Storm, again without much success in the field of air defense. By this time, self-propelled guns were completely outdated, and it was decided to remove them from service. The M163 was replaced in U.S. service by the M1097 Avenger and the M6 Linebacker, an M2 Bradley with FIM-92 Stinger missiles instead of the standard TOW anti-tank guided missiles. Despite this, the M163 VADS is still in active service in Chile, Ecuador, Egypt, Iran, Jordan, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, and Tunisia. One of the main foreign customers and recipients of the M163 was the Israeli army, which gave this technique the name VADS. Later, self-propelled guns underwent modernization, which included the replacement of part of the equipment and the installation of the launcher for 4 Stinger missiles. This modification was called MABET. Israeli technology was actively used in all conflicts from the early 80s to the early 2006. In modern warfare, the role of the M163 VADS has evolved, but it still holds relevance in certain scenarios, where advancements in air defense technology have led to the development of more sophisticated systems, such as surface-to-air missiles and anti-aircraft artillery. The M163 VADS remain useful in several ways. The M163 VADS is particularly effective against low-flying threats, such as helicopters, drones, and close-air support aircraft. Its high rate of fire and maneuverability make it well-suited for engaging short targets in dynamic battlefield environments. The M163 VADS retains its advantages in mobility, allowing it to accompany mechanized and armored units and provide close-air defense support where needed. Its ability to quick reposition and engage threats adds flexibility to ground operations. Compared to more advanced air defense systems, the M163 VADS is relatively cost-effective to operate and maintain. For militaries with limited budgets or those operating in environments where air threats are less sophisticated, the M163 VADS offers a viable air defense solution. While the M163 VADS may not be as technologically advanced as modern surface-to-air missile systems, its unique capabilities, mobility, and cost-effectiveness ensure that it remains a valuable asset in certain operational contexts, particularly in scenarios where close-range air defense is required to protect ground forces against low-flying threats.